What's up, beautiful people? Pastor D here. Welcome to another episode brought to you straight from ECD TV right here on YouTube. Okay, so today we're going to be continuing the topic of understanding the grace of God, part 2. Now, today in particular, we're going to focus on 1, why we even need grace in the first place, and 2, the process that God had to go through to institute grace into humanity. Guarantee it, you don't want to miss it, so stick around. Okay, welcome back. So we're going to do a quick recap of part 1 of understanding the grace of God. What is the grace of God? If you haven't seen it, cut me off right now and go see part 1. Okay, for the rest of us, we came to the conclusion that 1, grace has a definition and it also has a purpose. Now we know the definition of grace includes God's favor, God's charm, his joy, his pleasure, his loving kindness. Okay, those are all characteristics of God's grace. But we also learned in part 1 the purpose that God initially instituted his grace in the first place. And that was 1, to bring mankind back into a righteous state with him. That is the purpose of grace. Okay, so right now we're going to continue in that vein. And 1, we're going to talk about why we even need grace in the first place. Now, in the book of Romans, chapter 5 and verse 12, Paul states, "Therefore, just as through one man sin entered the world, and death through sin, and thus death spread to all men because all sinned." Now here, the one man Paul is referring to is Adam. So we all know the story of Adam and Eve in the Garden of Eden. Now, we all know that God instructed Adam to not do one thing, and that one thing was to not partake of the fruit of the tree of the knowledge of good and evil. Now we all know that Adam disobeyed that one command and did the only thing that God told him not to do. Now because Adam disobeyed God, he let sin enter into humanity and enter into the earth. And as a result, death also entered in. So when you ask yourself the question, well, why do I need grace? And remind you the purpose of grace as it being the gateway to the righteousness of God, we have to always revert back to Adam and what he did. And because of what he did, we were all made sinners. So when we were born into this world, we were automatically born into a sinful state. And that's the reason why God had to institute his grace, so he could redeem us from that sinful state and bring us back to righteousness with him. So now that is why we need grace. Now 2, in order for God to institute his grace into humanity and into the earth, he had to go through a process. The tool that God used to institute grace into humanity and into the earth was called the law. Now, some of us refer to this law as the Mosaic Law or the Law of the Old Covenant. And if you're familiar with the Law of the Old Covenant, you know that the law included the 10 Commandments plus approximately 600 plus other statutes and ordinances that God charged against mankind. Now, the reason why God instituted the law in the first place was not so that man could be made righteous through fulfilling the works of the law. You and I, by ourselves, can't fulfill all those statutes, ordinances, and commandments that God placed against mankind. However, the reason why he instituted the law was to show men its sinful state or show men its transgressions. As a matter of fact, in the book of Romans, chapter 5 and verse 13, Paul states, "For until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law." Okay, now the word impute there in the Hebrew means to lay to one's charge. Now let me give you an example of how that looks in modern day times. Say over here, I have city A, and over here, I have city B. Now, in city A, there's no law against stealing. In city B, there is a law against stealing. So let's take, for example, I'm in city A, I go into a grocery store, and I see a bag of chips that I really want. As a matter of fact, I grab the bag of chips, I open them up, and I begin to eat those chips. And as I'm eating the chips, I casually walk out of the store, past the cash register, without paying for the chips. Now, the store owner comes running out, stops me, and calls the police. Police arrive, and they ask me, "Hey, what's going on here?" The owner states, well, this guy just took this bag of chips without paying. The police look at the owner and say, well, there's nothing we can do. Now, why do they say there's nothing we can do? Well, because basically there's no law against stealing in City A. So therefore, under the law, I didn't do anything wrong. However, that doesn't make it morally right for me to do. Okay, now let's go over to City B. In City B, I walk into a grocery store and I see an ice cold Coke in the refrigerator. You know, I need something to wash those chips down with. So I take the Coke, I crack it open, I start drinking it. I walk past the cash register without paying and out into the parking lot. The store owner stops me, calls the police. The police arrive, and then the store owner tells the police, well, this man took the Coke without paying for it. Now the police look at me, they tell me to turn around, and they arrest me. Now, why did they arrest me in City B? Well, they arrested me in City B because there's a law saying that I can't steal, or there's a law saying that I had to pay for that Coke that I took. Now, the process doesn't stop here. So I'm in jail. The police go to the city prosecutor and they say, hey, we got this guy locked up. He stole this Coke from the store, and the store owner witnessed him steal this Coke from the store. So now the prosecutor has the power to, one, formally charge me with a crime or not. Now you're probably saying, well, how does this relate to the law and to grace? Well, let's look at it. So in Romans 5:13, it stated, for until the law, sin was in the world, but sin is not imputed when there is no law. So basically it's saying that sin was in the world, or unrighteousness was in the world. However, it couldn't be charged against humanity because there is no law against sin. However, when God instituted the law, this gave him the power to formally charge mankind with its sin. Now you're probably asking, well, why did he have to charge mankind with the sin? Couldn't he just wipe it all out? Well, yes and no. In order for something to be wiped out when it comes to the law, one must be formally charged with it first. So back to the example in City B. So the prosecutor has my file, they're looking at my file, and they say, you know what, okay, I'm going to formally charge this man with theft of a Coca-Cola. Now because I've been formally charged, I now have a debt against me that can officially be wiped out if they chose to do so. If I was never charged with a crime, like I wasn't in City A, then there is nothing officially that they could wipe out on my account. Now that I have this formal charge against me, they have the power to wipe it clean, or wipe my slate clean. And so this is the process that God instituted when he instituted the law. He never meant for humanity to achieve righteousness by fulfilling the works of the law. So therefore, he instituted his grace, and he said, okay, now if you want to become righteous, it's not by fulfilling the works of the law, but it's going to be by your faith in who you believe in. So in essence, it's through our faith and not our works where he's wiping the slate clean. And in part 3, we're going to talk about that process in depth on how to achieve the righteousness of God. So if you haven't already, make sure you subscribe to the ECD TV YouTube channel to make sure you know when that next video is coming out and videos after that. And also, if you haven't already, make sure you go and like this video. And until next time, be blessed. See you soon.